I wanted to share something with you homies, but I don't want to spend all the time to put frills on it or dress it up all nicely, so if you're still up for watching, here you go. One day, I felt like I was being taught a lesson or given a message. Something like, get with it already, guy. You don't have forever. So I reached out to my friend, Stranger Than Fiction, to tell him this. And before I could do so, he told me that he had felt like he was getting a message all day. That the big guy wanted him to drop all the bullshit in his life and commit fully. The next day, I was telling a relative about that gray alien demon chud I'd seen, and how I wished to be made a sword of by the big guy, and how I wanted so much to be in the front lines against these things. I enthusiastically told my relative that the bad guy's army has numerous different branches, and it takes many forms, and that if there are physical soldiers in it, I would love to bring one down somehow. The day after that, I uploaded You Touched the Sun Jack Part 4. Immediately afterwards, I was approached by two separate people who told me that they were experiencing some sort of demonic takeover or presence in their lives. They were being harassed by different branches of the same army, and what they both shared with me was unsettling. Not only that, but the second of the two, who I spoke with after the first person, presented a rather disturbing set of circumstances in regards to what he was specifically dealing with. If you could harass people without them necessarily seeing you, but you could only be in one place at a time, what would be the best time to attack? It would be during the night, when most of us are laying down, predictably, regularly, and almost always on a set schedule. I mean, imagine that you're a member of what essentially amounts to an interdimensional army, and you're assigned to follow 5 potential human victims. Every single day you make your rounds, but you can only be in one place at a time. So when would your shift begin? What would be the most effective time for you to start making your rounds? It would be when the sun goes down and those 5 targets stop moving. It would be when we sleep. And here's another thing for you. I'm completely aware of how that abomination I talked about in my last video looked exactly like what Hollywood would call a gray alien. And you know what? They're not aliens. I also experienced what many refer to as telepathy while in the presence of this thing, and it's neither cool nor exciting. After that event, I came under some sort of attack that lasted until I got the answer I needed, or answers, which I will share in the next installment of You Touch the Sun. Want to know what happened when that attack began? I was sitting there with another guy and a dog, and all of a sudden, it was as if I could read their minds, especially the dog. And the guy I was with was experiencing the same thing, but weeks after the fact when I brought it up to him, he apparently lacked any recollection of the event. You know why we experienced that? Because a member of Satan's army was going to work on us, on me. Don't believe me? Fine, but let's continue. Why do these new age idiots claim that aliens love us and want to help us? Here's why. After I'd encountered that great chud, some things became very clear to me for reasons I don't fully understand. It dawned on me that if you were to encounter one of these things, like if one of them came walking around a corner right now and looked at you, you have about half a second to parry their attack. How do you do this? By being firmly grounded in the direction of God, by not being wide open. I think of it like being a laptop laying on a table in a public place with no security features. Anyone can walk up and stick a flash drive right into your USB port if you're that open, and that is incredibly dangerous. Not only do you need to be grounded, you also need to prepare your go-to action for when or if your parry fails you. Why? Because when that thing locks your body, or presents a vision to you so real that you can't see what's actually going on around you, you need to already have a plan in place. It will be too late for you to act. Guess what? There's only one plan that works. Calling out to God or calling out to Jesus. You disagree with me? That's fine. 2 types of people disagree with me about this idea. Those who only believe in what they think of as normal, and those who've seen these things and who were so unsecured and wide open that their minds have been taken over and injected with lies. Oh, the Greys love us and want to help us. Yeah, sure, pal. I literally heard someone saying that on some paranormal podcast recently, where these 2 new age losers were talking about their contact experiences. These people were neck deep in practicing the occult and claimed that the aliens were from some faraway galaxy, of course, and that they wished to help us advance to the next level. But first, they needed to make about 20 million people disappear from around the world. Why? Oh, the New Age chud said, because those 20 million people are holding all of us back. After they're gone, the aliens will finally be able to show themselves and come down here and help our world advance to super big-brained sci-fi utopia. And here's something those New Age buttholes didn't say, but I suspect to be the case. Those people that the gray Chuds claimed need to disappear before they can help us ain't gonna be the world's elite who worship Satan. And they ain't gonna be the Freemasons who also worship Satan. And they ain't gonna be the Vatican, which will gladly baptize them. Oh no. The people holding humanity back and that will one day disappear are those who are closest to God, who have best walked that narrow path and stayed true to it. You starting to get where I'm going with this? Claiming that a significant number of people around the world need to disappear first in order to usher in a utopia is exactly what Satan's forces would say about the rapture. They're lying about what they know to inevitably be coming. They are setting the stage for a great deception which has been predicted, and they will be the first to show up if and when a noticeable number of people around the world suddenly click out of existence, aka out of Satan's playground. Rapture, I hear you say. Who believes in that crap? Well, I sure didn't. Not for the longest time. That was until something dawned on me. Our world is rapidly becoming the Luciferian construct, Satan's creation, or Satan's take on creation. It is the creation built upon uncreation, the lesser fractal. You can call it what you want, but I like to think of it as a lesser copy of the world, rebelling against the original, and attempting to pull as many of us down with it as possible. Why is the sum total of humanity judged at the end of the Bible and not before then? The same reason that the Luciferian construct is built at the end. Look around you, homie. For instance, God can be everywhere at once, but Satan can't, right? So how does Satan imitate this in his lesser fractal? Maybe he creates the Internet of Things, 5G and beyond. Maybe he links everything to an oppressive authoritarian cloud. Is there any sort of emphasis on permanent connectivity to the internet right now? Are we surrounded by devices that watch us as much as we watch them? Are there any breakthroughs going on right now with quantum computing or the speed of the internet? You starting to see this? Not only that, but every time we look at something, we collapse the world around us into a single quantum state. If you don't know what I'm talking about, think of the Schrodinger's cat thought experiment, where there's a cat in a box. When you open that box, there's a 50-50 chance that the cat will be killed by a mechanism that may be triggered by you opening the box. So is the cat alive or dead before the box is opened? Well, it's both, and this is called a quantum superstate, where 0 and 1 exist simultaneously in the same space. All of reality is essentially like that. Everything around us. Did you exist today? Then you helped collapse reality into one of two states. Bit by bit, we all do this every single day. As we do this, there are less and less undetermined states to collapse, and inevitably, there will eventually be only one outcome. Not only that, but before everything is said and done, and that singular outcome is reached, there will be another milestone. There will be a time when everything is reduced to a single binary. You know what that will look like? It will look like all of us having to make a choice, a deeply personal choice that none of us can avoid. A uniquely personal crossroads. Remember how I said that Satan's creation, the Luciferian construct, this world, is attempting to rebel and pull itself away from God? In order for Satan's lesser fractal to exist independently of God's rule, in order for a copy of the universe to split off and independently exist, which won't actually happen, it must make sure that it's cohesive, that it won't be weak around the edges of its membrane. How does it do this? By actively removing the presence of God from it. And how does it accomplish that? By removing the ability to speak or see truth. How would this look to us, who are in the middle of it all? Well, it'd look like a world that is extremely hostile to the truth contained within the Bible. It would be a one-world machine that actively hunts down anyone who professes the truth, and which does everything in its power to indoctrinate, control, and corrupt the minds and spirits of its people. It would look exactly like everything going on around us right now. When Satan's on the verge of getting his little universe, his little lesser fractal, something's going to happen as every quantum state around us is reduced to a single binary and beyond. Those who have done what they were supposed to, who have strived and suffered for God and Jesus, who have given themselves to the bigger good, they will remain in God's good graces and go to a better place, just as everyone else finds themselves suddenly stepping over the threshold. Instantly, in the snap of a finger, the people who will be in Satan's domain at the peak of its oppression will see those who kept the faith suddenly disappear. It doesn't stop there either, homies. When people see something like the rapture happen, how could they not simply say, "Oh, okay. Well, isn't that proof that God is real? And now I'll simply give myself over to him." Only it's not going to be that simple. Satan is a copycat, a counterfeiter, and an imposter. So what are the forces of evil going to do when an undeniable proof of the truth contained within the New Testament manifests itself right in front of the whole world? All of a sudden, all these people disappear, and those left behind look up, only to see the counterattack launched by Satan's army. The unveiling of the existence of aliens, of otherworldly beings, of the higher, but a false and lesser higher. Something along the lines of Project Bluebeam comes to mind, homies. Perhaps the Pope and world media will announce that the first alien has been baptized, right? Not only that, but the lies and propaganda will be rolled out in ways that can barely be imagined. I mean, the aliens are here to save us after all, right? They can be baptized and they can speak of the spiritual. And how will they speak of the spiritual? The same way they do now when they lie to New Age contactees and fill people's minds with delusion and disinformation. These entities can do things that we can't, and when the world sees their technology, their fake miracles, their illusions presented in a convincing manner, when the world hears the leaders of the Catholics, Jews, and Muslims agree to form a single satanic religion, when the days of Noah have come full circle, when any building that calls itself a church, mosque, or synagogue does nothing but worship the unholy, when all of this is occurring and more, it'll be a little late for I told you so. And that applies to me, to you, and to everyone. I don't mean to make people despair. Listen, the outcome is already determined, and it is by no means too late to turn towards the truth. And when I say the outcome is already determined, I mean that God deals with this exactly as he should, and that the good side winning was never even called into question. Satan and his forces already know what's going to happen to them, for they'll be destroyed, as well as those who stubbornly commit to the warm embrace of evil and untruth. But for us, as we have free will and experience time in the way that we do, the battle is just beginning. Can I see the future? Of course not. Do I believe that my hypotheticals or ideas are 100% correct about how this will look when it plays out? Nope. Do I believe that I'm one of those good people who doesn't have anything to worry about? I don't. Am I a model of my beliefs? Not yet, but hopefully I will be, and I will strive towards that. I have remote viewed because fallen angels transferred illusions into my mind. I have interacted with one of them and only recovered from a terrifying and oppressive attack because of God, Jesus, or both. I have been remote viewed by Satanists without asking them to, only to have them accurately describe my features to me. I have experienced a voice conversation with a possessed person in which they, or more particularly, the demonic entity or entities that attached to them, created a dynamic in which it felt like my mind was being read. Every day I find that I meet another newcomer to the faith, just like myself, and we all feel that there is a reason we are meeting at this time. I'm only alive today because someone was looking out for me, and I'm only telling you this because there is still time to reach others, though I feel that at any moment that time will have passed. I have seen who the richest and most powerful people on this world are, and I know who it is that they serve, and I have interacted with members of that army. I begged God to help me understand why it was that the rulers of this place were so untouchable and powerful. I begged God to give me a weapon to wield against them. I begged God to help me strike back against the forces that seek to harm us, to help me see the way, to help me not waste my potential. I begged God to help me use my knowledge in direct defiance of those who serve Satan, to not let all that I have learned and experienced have been for naught. The weapon that God showed me looks like a sword, but it goes by another name. Truth, and he told me that I may carry it, only if I wield it in his name. Thanks for watching, homies.